What we've been doing with the Exchanging Stories project is inviting teams of young people in different divided cities where they come together, tell their stories to each other, and then come up with some third gesture, image, artwork, symbolic idea that suggests a way beyond the binary opposition. One of our first films was with two young girls from Derry, high school, senior as we call it in Ireland, who were basically telling their stories as Protestant, Catholic, nationalist, unionist from different sides of the city, inside the walls, outside the walls. And then as a gesture of reconciliation, they exchanged uniforms and walked through each other's territory to experience what it was like from the other side, and come up with the proposal that every school child in Northern Ireland, where education is denominationally divided, sit beside each other, sit beside somebody from an opposite religion, first day in class. This received a huge media response. There were over 100,000 hits on the website in the first couple of days. British, Northern Irish, Irish media all picked it up, and the two girls became peace ambassadors, talking to different schools about overcoming religious and cultural divides. Another example was Palestinian and Jewish, Israeli young women, two young women, who exchanged uniforms, the Chador and the Star of David, and traversed each other's territory and geography. And that also led to sort of a peace gesture and movement between the two of them in Jerusalem. A third was an Armenian and a Turk who met together to discuss the Armenian genocide, and discovered during the course of the exchange of their stories that neither of them had been told about the genocide growing up, but that the worst word in the Turkish language was Armenian, the word Armenian, and the worst curse word in the Armenian language was the word Turk. But neither knew why until they grew up and learned about this, the cover-up of the genocide. They both got together and formed a commemoration group for the centenary of the genocide, the Armenian genocide. A third example is a Japanese and a Korean student who come together to tell their different stories of territorial claims over the Dotko Islands. And there again, in learning of each other's national sort of story about why that island belongs to Japan, not Korea, and vice versa, they got together and made a proposal for the islands to become demilitarized bird sanctuary, since it harbors over 100 species of birds. These are just some examples of how the Guestbook Project invites young people in wounded communities throughout the world to change history by exchanging stories.